your position. And like I told you, some people believe, some people don't. I just like to analyze questions from all sides. Rhonda says, I've been studying about the Bible, stories being stolen off the pyramid walls of Kemet, which was written by our black ancestors. For me, learning about this has enhanced my spirituality because my ancestors were the first with the knowledge of a higher power. Ed writes, Myth Ruth's comments about Trump, was that legal? ? Are you talking about Supreme Court Justice Ruth Ginsburg? I think it's Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And she did make some very interesting and troubling comments about Mr. Trump a couple days ago. Comments that if she is a sitting Supreme Court justice could cause a problem if in the near future. Because it's kind of like, what if Trump becomes the president and then there's some type of constitutional issue that comes before the Supreme Court, right? Is her personal viewpoints now that they've been stated, are they going to somehow cloud over her ability to be impartial, her ability to act as she should as a Supreme Court justice? And I would say probably not. But now that she's spoken up about it, that's the perception, that she's not going to be able to be fair because she's got some kind of personal beef. Quite honestly, I thought it was a bad idea. You know, just stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. You're Supreme Court justice, stay in your lane. Yuli writes, no, Gilgamesh, it's an ancient myth, some 2,100 years older than Christianity, and it also talks about the Great Flood. In fact, all ancient legends do, etc. Right. Yuli, thanks for that. I didn't know Gilgamesh. It sounds familiar. I mean, I do know that there's an ancient myth, should I say. I do know it's older than Christianity, but I'll take your word for it, Yuli. I'll check it up. Wait, got you got the Wikipedia link too? The epic of Gilgamesh. I'm sorry, of Gilgamesh. It's an epic poem from ancient Mesopotamia. Don't bring Mesopotamia into this. There's a link. I love what we can do on Spreaker. Hey, listen, if you're interested in learning more about this, Yuli posted a link. Check it out. Check it out. Nate Ivey with you. This is the Nathan Ivey Show. Again, powered by the good folks at Superlative Media. We'll be right back. Much more to follow.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plato and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey! The dreaded splash fight. It's Dad O'Clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Secretary Clinton has won the Democratic nominating process. And I congratulate her for that. She will be the Democratic nominee for president. And I intend to do everything I can to make certain she will be the next president of the United States.
Some folks thought they'd never see the day. Good morning, welcome back. I'll say it again. Some folks thought they'd never see the day when Bernie Sanders would be endorsing Hillary Clinton. Says he's going to do everything he can to make sure that she's the next president of these United States. But will it be enough? Do you believe that Hillary Clinton should choose Bernie Sanders as her running mate? That means he would be the VP, which means that if something happened to her, that he would assume that office. Bernie for president. You tell me. Also, did anybody watch the ESPY Awards or any clips of them? One powerful moment is getting a lot of press And that's when you had NBA stars Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. They took the stage silently with their hands folded, no posters behind them, no bells and whistles, no anything. Just four brothers who've made millions playing basketball, four brothers who collectively have millions of people in their fan bases. And they were pleading with the country for some sanity in the wake of the deaths of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile. There it is. You've been waiting for it, and now you've got it. These brothers are stepping up. Now, you may or may not know about this, but Carmelo Anthony wrote a piece for The Guardian. It was an op-ed piece in which he asks athletes to use their voice to force change, even suggesting a message of some sort next month at the Olympic Games in Brazil. Like, so far, there's been at least a dozen athletes who have decided, many NBA ballers who have decided not to participate in the games in Brazil. And many of them have cited concerns of their health concerns as their reason. And I thought, what if you had some of these athletes who decided to boycott the Brazil games for another reason, or maybe to take that moment to maybe draw attention to some issues that really, really matter? What if you had people who said, listen, I'm boycotting the Olympics in Brazil to bring attention to highlight the huge disparities of wealth in Brazil and different countries, south of the border, really throughout the world. That would have been interesting. Anthony says that the system is broken, the problems are not new, the violence is not new, and the racial divide definitely is not new, but the urgency to create change is at an all-time high. That was Carmelo Anthony. And the last I knew of it, I think three of these brothers was on vacation with their wives together. And that'd be Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. I saw some of the Instagram updates and postings. So these brothers get off vacation, go to the ESPYs, and maybe this will spark a change. Or maybe they're just completely naive to believe that just because you play basketball, that you can dress in a suit, go to the ESPYs, and that's going to make any difference whatsoever. However, listen, if they didn't say anything, then people would say, well, then why didn't you take that opportunity at the ESPYs to draw concern or to draw attention to some of these issues? The real question for LeBron James is this, is that for him, it's relatively easier to talk about Alton Sterling and Philando Castile. That's kind of easy. But it'll be more difficult for LeBron James to talk about Tamir Rice, to talk about John Crawford, to talk about, some of the folks that have been killed in the city of Cincinnati, because that's too close to home. That is the fan base. Now you're challenging people where you live, okay, inside the kingdom, so to speak. Will we see or hear LeBron James ever do that? So the system is broken. The problems are not new. But how much of an impact do you believe that this is going to make? D-Wade said racial profiling has to stop, but also the retaliation has to stop. Enough is enough. LeBron James said we all have to do better. It sounds like something that Obama might say. Very middle of the road. It doesn't turn anybody off. Eric Holder, former U.S. Attorney General, via Twitter, wrote great statement at the ESPYs by Melo, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron. Athletes who care and who are unafraid. Ali and Jackie would have been proud. Even Bill Clinton retweeted, inspired by the words of LeBron James. Who gives a damn about what Bill Clinton thinks, right? Get out of here. And I don't know. I mean, I'm glad they said something, but I'm skeptical about how much of an impact it's really going to be. And see, for me, it's easy to get on the ESPYs and have your moment. For Chris Paul, If a brother is shot in Los Angeles, are you going to speak up? For D. Wade, you're going to Chicago, bro. You got a huge responsibility if you really mean that. D. Wade, you're in Chicago. And they have huge issues. I mean, some people are saying that Chicago is the murder capital of the country now. We're always talking about it. Rappers are rapping about it. So what is D. Wade going to do when there's some type of tragic shooting in Chicago? And somebody says, hey, put on this RIP, fill in the blank of the name of the young brother killed in this hypothetical situation. And they say, hey, D. Wade, you going to wear this RIP jersey, as a warm-up? What's D. Wade going to do when he runs out on the court and he sees nothing but police officers and he knows how they feel? That's the real challenge. The next time a brother is killed unarmed by Cleveland police, Akron police, Columbus police, is LeBron James going to say something about it? What if it's the beginning of the NBA season? Is he going to talk about it then? I mean, I get it. I understand it. I'm glad. But they can do a lot more. What they can do is speak out in those particular cities that whose NBA franchises they play for. That's what I want to see. LeBron James, before you say, well, Nate, they wore the I Can't Breathe t-shirts. You're right, Eric Gardner. And that took a lot of strength and courage. It would have taken more strength and courage, and it would have been more impactful if he had a R.I.P. Tamir Rice t-shirt on. Because that happened in Cleveland where you play, man. Listen, I see right through this nonsense. I see right through it. So I think it was incredible. We'll see what happens afterward. But the real challenge for these four brothers, New York. Carmelo Anthony, New York. I mean, hold on. Carmelo Anthony. Let me see. Meets widow of Eric Gardner. I mean, because Melo plays in New York. We saw a man get choked out in New York. I don't know if Melo talked about that. I don't know if he talked about it. Because, again, it's real easy to take a national platform. Well, I'll take it back. It's not that easy. It takes a little bit of courage. I will say that. It takes some courage. Because they're going to get backlash either way. But you would have more of an impact if you spoke about the issues in the cities that you're actually playing for. That's the only point I'm trying to make here. Let me go back and see Melo. Let me see Gardner. Let me see. I can't breathe. Let me see Carmelo Anthony. I can't breathe. Again, and I say that because people were wearing those T-shirts. I can't breathe because we saw Mr. Eric Gardner saying, "I can't breathe." And when using that on Google, I typed in Carmelo Anthony, I can't breathe. And all of the stories that come out. Okay, let me see here. I got something going back to 2014. And maybe Melo did. I give him some props for that because it's one thing. I know that New Jersey, Brooklyn, there was a lot of players doing that. So perhaps Melo did wear a T-shirt, I can't breathe. Okay? For that, I give him props. But at that particular time, there was a lot of players that was doing it, so it might have got lost. Reggie writes, good morning, Chop Shop. Nate, your show email updates have stopped. How do I fix that? ? Well, number one, thank you for telling me. And I'll let the good folks who I know over at Spreaker know about that. And I'm not really sure. It's hard to say. Rhonda writes, there's a book called Christianity Before Christ. Check it out. Great read. Really? Junior writes, poor Bernie. Junior, that photograph is hilarious. Carolyn writes, good morning, Chop Shop. Late, but I'm here. Glad to have you, Carolyn. Looks like y'all driving. Where y'all headed? Casey writes, Christians are so hypocritical. Why try to capitalize off absolutely everything to do with being Christian? ? From going to church to visiting the Ark costs money. The church is loaded already, so visiting the Ark should be free. I mean, for people who are true believers, for them, going to see the Ark was that had to mean something. And the only thing I can compare it to is the first